All right, welcome back. We are the TongLen practice module group. This is our class 8, the final class for this practice module. It's December 1st, 2025. We'll do our opening prayers and then I'll yak a bit and we'll do our meditation at the end. So let's gather our minds here as we usually do. Please bring your attention to your breath until you hear from me again. Now bring to mind that being who for you is a manifestation of ultimate love, ultimate compassion, ultimate wisdom. And see them here with you just by way of your thinking of them. They are gazing at you with their unconditional love for you, smiling at you with their holy great compassion. Their wisdom radiates from them. That beautiful golden glow encompassing you in its light. And then we hear them say, bring to mind someone you know who's hurting in some way. Feel how much you would like to be able to help them. Recognize that the worldly ways we try fall short. How wonderful it will be when we can also help them in some deep and ultimate way, a way through which they will go on to stop their distress forever. Deep down, we know this is possible. Learning about emptiness and karma we glimpse how it's possible. And so I invite you to grow that wish into a longing. And that longing into an intention. And with that intention, turn your mind back to your precious holy being. We know that they know what we need to know, what we need to learn yet, what we need to do yet to become one who can help this other in this deep and ultimate way. And so we ask them, please, please, please teach me that. Show us that. And they are so happy that we've asked. Of course, they agree. Our gratitude arises. We want to offer them something exquisite. And so we think of the perfect world they are teaching us how to create. We imagine we can hold it in our hands, and we offer it to them, following it with our promise to practice what they teach us, using our refuge prayer to make our practice, to make our promise. Here is the great earth, filled with fragrant incense and covered with the blanket of flowers. The great mountain, four lands, wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Nirya Tayani. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may all beings totally awaken for the benefit of every single other. All right. So last class, we were doing TongLen on someone we don't know, right? We recognize their face, but we don't really know. And it was kind of hard to decide what suffering will I take from them because I don't know them well enough. And the instruction was, simply observe. And based on our own human experience, we can interpret what we see and recognize, wow, they walk like their knees hurt, or right, their facial expression looks like they're a little annoyed with something, or they look tired, right? And we understand, we don't know what they're experiencing. And actually, we understand that we don't know what anybody's experiencing, right? We're always in that mode of interpreting, right? However, we learn to do that, we're doing it all the time. And we recognize through the power of the teachings that no, all of our awarenesses and beliefs about what we know about another person, are unique to us and they're valid. And hopefully, most of the times we are close to correct. But just as we know that nobody can really experience things from behind my eyes and in my shoes, right? Because me is me and you is you. And never the two will mix. And so it gives us this glimpse of the the reason to grow our compassion is that we don't really know where somebody's coming from, why they're acting the way they seem to be acting, right? What are their hopes and fears? We really can't know. And we know from our own side that the reason we might end up saying something hurtful or doing something rude is because, we were upset by something, or we just weren't paying close enough attention, right? Or there was some upset that propelled that particular behavior. And when we understand it about ourselves, if we'll just stop and give ourselves the time and space to consider, well, when somebody's behaving badly towards me or towards another, maybe they have some underlying stuff also that is contributing to their behavior in this way. I don't mean to say that makes harmful behavior okay because they're hurting. Not at all. Harmful behavior begets harmful behavior, both oneself doing more, right? The one who's doing the harmful behavior will do more if they don't recognize there are unpleasant consequences to it. Uh, but also in the sense of seeing more of it in our outer world as well, and seeing more of whatever the underlying upset is that propels our, behavior that's harmful. We know that that's happening from our own side. And so we know that it's happening from another side when we see or are aware of others behaving badly. And so to be able to look underneath and say, they're suffering in this way that makes them behave like that. And even underneath that further, oh my gosh, they misunderstand the world. They must misunderstand the world, or they wouldn't behave like that because they would know they've just shot themselves in the foot, right? In their effort to solve a problem or to get happy, in which they thought their harmful behavior could bring them that result. They might as well have a hammer and they're just doing this on their foot. Why am I hurting so badly? And to know that, and to know that they aren't aware of that, hopefully it makes our heart go, oh, like, oh, I'm so sorry. I wish I could just get them to realize. I wish I could get them to wake up. I wish I could take the hammer out of their hand, you know? And it's it 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 isn't necessarily automatic that every being has that kind of reaction to someone who's suffering. right? The fact that we're attracted to these teachings says we are the kind of people that have that kind of reaction. We hear a teaching about we reap what we sow, and it goes deeper, and it's like, oh, if that's true for me, it's true for everybody. And then how helpful it is to know that even at the beginning, when when right, we can't really quite put it into practice well yet. It's like, whoa, just the understanding that how I'm influencing my future by what I do now. It gives me a power, right? It gives me a strength because it's a strength over my own self, my own behavior. And it says, you're right, you can't control anything outside of yourself. We can barely control our own behavior, but that's the only place, right, where our effort to control can actually pay off. Anywhere else, it's gonna fail. So back to our premise. We were TongLening someone we really don't know what their suffering is. If we perceive them as a being in the desire realm, our realm, then we know that they have obvious suffering, not all day long, hopefully now and then. They have the suffering of change, right? Pleasant things that wear out, leaving them wanting for more. And they have pervasive suffering, the pervasive suffering of being on their way to dying the instant they're conceived, not knowing that. And so not using the opportunity to get the most out of their life. But also pervasive suffering is that underlying misunderstanding of like how things work, how things happen, so that we are in this constant not knowing what could happen next. It's really the pervasive suffering has this underlying theme of like, we don't know what karma is going to come next. We don't know what's in our karmic pocket for sure. And at any moment, right? We just don't know. And we learn to sublimate that because if it were up front, close, we would all be wiped out with anxiety. We'd be unable to function. And people get that kind of anxiety and depression from this inability to cope with the randomness of life. Right? The fact that we try to do this and it's not effective, and we try to do that and it's not effective. And right, I mean, my life has not been like that, but I know people, or I know of people, don't actually know people, right, who have that kind of life, and then they get so anxious that they can't even function. And right, it's a that becomes the obvious suffering, but it's based on this pervasive suffering that right, is worse when we don't understand that it's these seeds ripening from seeds planted, and it's happening constantly. And as we grow more and more aware, we understand more and more that our influence upon ourselves and our world lies in our interactions with others. Because it's through our interaction with others that we plant those seeds, make those imprints that become the experience of the others that we interact with. So when we're in this position with others that we don't know well enough to know what to TongLen, and we just pay close attention to them. Whatever we witness that seems not happy, peaceful, calm, pleasurable is the level that we would TongLen them of. So the key is being willing to pay close enough attention to see, are their hands shaking? Maybe they're nervous about something. What's the expression on their face? We don't actually have to get it right according to their experience. We actually can't get it right according to their experience. Even if we had the opportunity to sit down with them and say, tell me, what's the problem? And right, we've all done that. We've tried to explain a problem to somebody else, and we just can't verbalize it well. But when we're the ones paying attention, trying to understand, we don't, whatever level we perceive, that's the level to TongLen. Again, recall that our TongLening practice is about growing our bodhicitta. Our bodhicitta is that love, compassion that wants to help them end their suffering, so that I can become fully enlightened being, so that I can help them become fully enlightened being. And bodhicitta is that direct perception of emptiness that gives us the wisdom to understand that the system, to know that the system we've been taught trying to get the right words. Does explain where happiness comes from. So where am I going? So any suffering that we can perceive in our experience, outside of us, apparently outside of us, is this opportunity for us to plant seeds for our own Buddhahood, so that we can help that other in that deep and ultimate way. In order to reach Buddhahood, we have to want to reach Buddhahood. And then we choose to do the kinds of behaviors that clean out the imprints in our minds that were made from before we knew any better, and to put in imprints in our mind that can grow into the ripening experience of moving along the path of realizations to that transformation of how we perceive ourselves. So we are apparently, I can only speak for myself, I am perceiving myself as being a being with a body made of flesh and blood and organs, and a mind made of, all my past experiences, with a belief in a me that's me, that has pain, right? Obvious, of change, and pervasive. And that perception of myself is nothing but a constant series of ripenings made by past behaviors in which I perceived myself in that way, interacting with others, conscious being others and material thing others, with the belief that those two had their own identities and qualities in them from them. Just a minute, I'm hearing noises. Make sure they're okay noises. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. So the perception of ourselves as enlightened being will be no more or less real than our perception of ourselves as ordinary suffering beings now. Right? Our experience of ourself now is ripening results of past deeds. Our Buddha, me and Buddha paradise emanating will be ripening results of past deeds also. That tells us that our true nature is not what we think it is as an ordinary being. That in fact, our true nature is the availability to be whatever that seed ripening happening is at the moment, from which we interact with other again and plant new seeds. So this empty nature, my nothing but nature, is what is the promise, actually, that says collect the right imprints. When those imprints ripen, I will be forced to perceive this being with a body made of light, made of love, made of compassion, a being made of wisdom, itself experiencing pleasure, more pleasure, more pleasure, and spontaneously, effortlessly emanating being what any being needs to wake up to the same truth about themselves and their world. How long will that take? Doesn't matter. By the time we're Buddha, right? Time is part of the constant ripening. So back to ordinary me, trying to use this understanding to burn off my experience that are colored with the misunderstanding and plant imprints into this mind with the new understanding in order to grow my ability to use my awareness of other beings' suffering in order to propel my own awareness towards that state of heart that knows directly what every being needs to take up. I need to plant seeds in my mind for trying to help others stop their suffering and gain happiness in order to have the seeds in my mind to reach that ultimate state myself. From that ultimate state, I can more directly help others reach their ultimate happiness too. So without others, I can't transform myself into Buddha, me in Buddha paradise, emanating to those others. We need other beings. We actually need to be aware of their suffering. That's a little harsh. Like, are you saying I'm making others suffer so that I can benefit from it, so that I can become a Buddha, so that I can help them stop suffering? Right? If it was under my willpower, I'd just stop projecting them from suffering. I'd just project them all as Buddhas already. Right? I tried. It doesn't work. We can't do it by willpower. We could if we had the seeds to do it by willpower. I guess I don't have the seeds to do it by willpower because I've tried. Mm. So any suffering that we can be aware of is an opportunity for us to plant the seeds for our own Buddhahood so that we can really help others. So then understanding that, hopefully it means our willingness to be aware, even maybe be in the presence of others' suffering will grow. Our tendency is to put blinders on, right? To avoid really being willing to witness someone's suffering because we can't do anything about it. Like, even if we can do something about it, we see that whatever we do is temporary. Yes, we help them get their broken leg fixed, but then they have a heart attack. Right? Yes, we help them get the new job, but they're still unhappy with their teenager, right? It's just like it's always something. And it's true for us as well. It's always something. Mm. Doing TongLen is helping us grow our bodhicitta. To grow our bodhicitta, being aware of others' suffering and feeling, I wish I could do something. I wish I could reach into them and just take that all away from them. Hey, if you have kids, you felt that, I'm sure. You know, those of us without kids have felt it in other ways, maybe with our pets, because a pet gets injured or ill. You can't explain to them, honey, right? You have strep throat, you'll get your antibiotics. In 12 to 24 hours, you'll be feeling better, right? That you can't say that to your dog, I don't think, right? And help them go, okay, thanks, mom. I'll not worry about myself, right? So our willingness to witness and be with somebody else's distress by TongLen practice, it gives us this tool and this confidence that allows us to allow our compassion to grow bigger instead of seeing our compassion as an emotion that hurts, that we then want to avoid. Because maybe we can do something worldly to help. Maybe we can't, but we can always do TongLen. But come on, TongLen is just fantasy. You can't TongLen somebody's broken leg and in the next minute have it be fixed, or in the next minute have it be casted and them on crutches, right? Our TongLen, come on, it's just fantasy. And we've learned in the last couple of weeks that real life is just fantasy too, in the sense that there's nothing other than seeds ripening and seeds planting happening, called real life, called fantasy, called TongLen, called movie, right? That everything is projected reality. And on our practice of the path, one of the things that one of the effects that we're working with on is this understanding, deepening understanding of what we mean when we say, oh, that's my projection. And when we're first learning about karmic seeds and this thing called projections, we learn about it. The projection, knowing the projection reveals to us the illusory nature of our appearing reality. And it's like, well, illusory nature means we think something's there, but it's not really there, right? We see water in the desert and, oh, it's a mirage. The water's an illusion. There's not water there. We see a snake in the garden and we jump back and then we look again and it's like, oh, it was just a coiled up piece of rope. Ah, that snake was illusion. It wasn't real. But then the drunk driver, right, hits our car and somebody says, oh, yeah, that's just your projection. And our mind goes, that was no illusion. My car is wrecked. No, my neck hurts. That was no illusion. And it shows us that when we think projection and illusion, we think somehow not real. Yeah, just a sec, Frank. Let me finish my train of thought. When we understand that nothing has ever had its own identity or own qualities, that's impossible. Not just illusory, but impossible. So that when we come to use the word projection, our automatic reaction is, oh, right. That's how it's real. That's what's going on. And even after all these years, I hear my mind say, that's a projection, and I feel it go over to the, oh, so it's not real. And what we're trying to grow is this deep reaction to the term projection, my seeds ripening, and have our automatic reaction be, oh, that's real. That's real. The drunk driver hitting my car from my seeds ripening, my past carelessness happened, right? It didn't, I'm making it up. That's real. That's what really happened and is happening. Does that mean, like I say to the drunk driver, no worries, My seed's ripening. You're not responsible. Does that help the drunk driver? No. So if we said, oh, drunk driver didn't really happen, that wouldn't help either. And when we blame the drunk driver for hitting my car, and so I want that drunk driver, reprimanded in some way because it was all their fault, that doesn't help either. So somewhere in there, we're growing our understanding of what projection really means. And in doing so, we're growing our awareness of how it is that things have always been. So when we understand this karma and emptiness process happening moment by moment, and when we come to see it directly, we realize not that we've now changed things from having had their own natures to now they don't. We've realized, made real for us, that things with their own natures have never been there. And now we are finally experiencing our world accurate to the way it actually happens and exists by projection. And so real. In them, from them, not real. In them, from them is also projected, which is why it appears so real. Okay, now, Frank, I can take your question.
So sorry for interrupting you. Um, I asked myself, how does it work that I can switch on and off the news on a TV or whatever, and I see all the sufferings that are coming every time, so war, crime, hurricanes, catastrophes, whatever, and so on, and I can switch it on and off so instantly. So
Mhm.
how does it work, or what does it tell about my perception in the moment, in this case?
Right, right. So the ability to turn it on and off is seeds ripening from having given others the opportunity to have choice as to what they see or don't see, or what they become aware of or not aware of. So if that's a good thing, to be able to have that ability to turn it on and off, then it's result of some kind of similar kindness in the past, which says if that's a good result and you want to continue to have that opportunity, we would want to be aware of places where we are interfering with someone's opportunity to turn something on or off. It wouldn't literally have to be the TV set, right? It could be some other opportunity where they have the choice to change things. Do we interfere with other people's opportunities to change things? If we find, oh, I'm doing it there, we might decide, I want to change that habit, because when that ripens on me, I will not have the ability to turn my opportunity on or off. And it's like, what could that look like? I could always turn on my TV set. I don't know. Maybe not. Or maybe it's a whole different way that it manifests for us, right? Maybe we're, I don't know, in a situation where somebody else has it control over the radio and they're blaring their propaganda stuff on you constantly, right? It happens in places. And you've got to listen to that, right? Blaring noise constantly. You can't turn it off. So it's seeds. Everything is seeds at every level. And we can see then how they say that the direct workings of karma is deeply hidden reality, meaning a level of reality that can only be perceived by an omniscient mind. Emptiness directly is easier to perceive than the direct workings of karma, meaning the specific, what did I do to create that background, right? Every little blip of blue versus the other blue has a seed that was planted. And to know directly, oh, that life when I did that thing is the cause of this, only omniscience knows it. But we can learn the principle well enough that we can make these correlations. If that's pleasant, then I shared some kind of pleasant visual with somebody in the past. If I like pleasant visual, I want to continue to share pleasant visual. Right? Simple as that. To get more specific, we look at our 10 virtues, non-virtues. We look at the behaviors that have become vowed behaviors to see what that omniscient being has recommended for us to avoid. And then you turn those around as positives, and it gives us a clue of what kinds of things to train in as humans based on what an omniscient mind has tried to give us as guidelines. So again, how does TongLen fit into that? Is that it's a tool that we can use to plant seeds in our mind because we're doing it motivated with that intention to shift our own seeds to grow our love, compassion, and wisdom so that we can, in fact, someday know directly what that other really does need to take up and give up in order to stop their suffering, the suffering at the moment and the suffering ultimately. Mm. We understand that our TongLen does not work in the moment. And our growing understanding is neither does anything worldly that we do work to give what happens next in the next moment. But it seems like what we do worldly brings what comes about next. It looks like you put your hand on the doorknob, you turn and pull, and the door opens. That seems like this deed, that deed, that deed, that result. And every time it seems to work, we reinforce our belief that it worked sequentially like that. And it works and it works and it works and it works until it doesn't. And there's one time, right? You put your hand on the knob, you try to turn for whatever reason, and it doesn't open. And our mind automatically goes, what happened? Right? The door jamb swelled. There's something wrong with the lock. We grasp at the reason for why the this, the this, the that to that result didn't work. When in fact, it never worked like that. And all of a sudden, we have one experience that is the opportunity to show us that it never worked like we thought. And instead of going, oh, what was I thinking? We make up a reason for why it didn't work in the old way, so we can cling to our familiar belief. As humans, we cling to familiarity, even those rare ones that like change, right? They still like change in a certain way, some familiarity with it. It has to do with our physicality, right? Our seeds that ripen our beliefs in this physical body that's a material body that has evolved over time and has struggled with survival, right? All of this is projected reality also. And our belief in it colors us in such a way that we are hardwired. We perceive ourselves as being hardwired for protection, right? Based on evolution. Our brains run our sensory apparatus such that we are in constant awareness of, is this dangerous or not? All colored by the mistake and running the show as the what is it, the app underneath, right? The app that's running behind everything else is part of being human mammal, is to have this hardwiring of safety first, which is, it's a good thing, right? If we didn't have it, we'd walk right out in front of cars. We wouldn't pay enough attention to not eat spoiled food, right? We would do all kinds of stupid things if we weren't constantly aware of this danger. Why am I going there? I forget. Uh, it's like it's part of our automatic pilot that we're learning to get off of as spiritual practitioners on a path that's driven by this heartfelt, uh, deep understanding that suffering is unnecessary. Any kind of suffering is a result of a big mistake. And when we understand it that way, it's like all we have to do is stop the mistake. Technically, all we have to do is stop our own mistake. How do I stop the mistake? Do I give up on my outer world and go isolate myself into retreat? That won't stop the mistake if we don't do significant work on ourselves while we are isolated. And then we don't really know whether we've fully stopped the mistake until we get ourselves back out into interaction with others and see how what's happened to our responses. So our habitual pattern is to experience something and react to it. And the reaction plants new seeds. The situation's finished, it's been burned off, those seeds are gone. Our reaction to it has planted a whole series of new seeds. Meanwhile, other seeds are ripening that we are reacting to. And the reaction is colored by this automatic pilot. Safe, not safe. How do I get safe? How do I stay safe? My behavior is driven by that. We might call it the what about me, right? Color. So that our reaction comes out of this perception. They're yelling at me, right? If I yell back louder, I get the upper hand. That makes me safe. And we think that's the right thing to do. And they actually expect us to do that. And we're trying to get off that automatic pilot. And instead of reacting, we're training ourselves to take this pause, just enough of a pause to choose our action. Maybe we choose to yell back. It's still different than automatic pilot. Maybe we pause and choose to say something kind, but we still yell. Okay, we get credit for the trying. We plant seeds for the trying, we plant seeds for the still yelling. Maybe our ability grows further, and instead of acting from the impulse to yell, we don't act from that impulse, we choose a different reaction. I'm sorry you're upset with me. How can I help you? Maybe they get madder. Maybe it shocks them and they go, what? And the situation stops. Maybe it's anywhere in between. Our own mind is the important thing watching, because our own mind, right, in a sense, goes, whoa, that was different. What happens next, however, if we go, how can I help you? And they get madder still. Our mind's going to go, well, that was stupid. You should have yelled back. And it's like, oh, nuts, right? Because I was trying to use a little wisdom and I was expecting I would get a nice result in the next moment, in the same way that I expect the door to open because I turned the knob. So, in order to grow our ability to be in respond instead of react mode, we also are learning to disconnect from the what comes next as a result of what I just did mode. And that's very difficult. So again, why am I talking about this in view of TongLen? Because we are training to open our willingness to witness people's distress. And then we find ourselves in the situation where I can't really do anything for them. And so we like reinforce, just don't pay attention then. But now we have this tool. I can always TongLen. I can always fantasize that I could just reach in and take away their distress. And I can do that fantasy in such a way that it can be more effective at changing the seeds in my own heart that are actually the source of the distress that I see in them anyway. Because the reason the door opens when I turn the knob and pull is because of some kindness seeds related to, right, allowing somebody to pass by. Let's just call it door opening for door opening. The reason my seeds are ripening, I can open the door today, is because I helped somebody open doors before. So when I understand, I'm understanding that better and better. Each time my hand goes to the doorknob, my mind might be saying, wow, let's see if it works this time. Because we'd be wondering, right? And then it's like, wow, cool. And through the door I go. As opposed to this automatic pilot, of course the door is going to open. Same with our TongLen. It, we don't expect the TongLen, right? We TongLen the tired business person on his way home after a long day and he's just looking dejected. We do some TongLen and all of a sudden he's brightened up, he's happy, he's being nice to everybody. We don't expect that because we know, like my seed, I'm just doing this in my own mind. I don't expect it to help him. But the reason we're doing it is that we know it will help him. How? By changing my seeds. I'm never going to see that guy again, probably. So I can't say, well, I remember when I TongLened him on March 20th, and now in February the next year, there's he's a happy guy. I'm not ever going to know that until I'm Buddha. Right? And then maybe I will know that. And then I'll probably also know that my mind stream and that mind stream had had some kind of similar interaction many times before. So that that one TongLen wasn't the thing that did it. So what I'm trying to get across is that when we say, oh, my TongLen is just fantasy, what we call my real life is also just fantasy because they are both seed planting, seed ripening, happening, and nothing but. So our TongLen practice is as effective, maybe more so, as being the one who calls 911 in the face of the accident. You, TongLening, whoever's involved in that accident, is probably more powerful, is more powerful. I will take away the probably. But does that mean you don't also dial 911? No, right? We dial 911 and we TongLen. We do what we can worldly wise, and we TongLen. Because our TongLen is growing our bodhicitta, and our bodhicitta is growing our Buddhahood, and their suffering is the arena within which we glimpse what's in the seeds in our own heart that make up our me and my world. And they are the opportunity for us to change that. Weed out the weeds and plant virtue, plant goodness. So any suffering we see is this opportunity for us to purify our own negative seeds just by witnessing that distress. We don't have to experience the distress ourselves. We don't have to experience jumping off a cliff in order to purify pushing people off cliffs. We just need to recognize other suffering is ripening from my seeds. I'm going to use that opportunity to take it from them and to give them happiness. And I'll do it on my breath and I'll do it in my mind. And just like opening the door, it will have it plants its seed and it will give its result later. That's why we do it. Is there any limit to what suffering we can take and what goodness we can give? No, in our imagination, there's no limit. Maybe we're limited by the amount of time we have to spend on the fantasy. Are we limited in our worldly world, what we can do? I sure am. And that sense of limitation makes me not even want to look. Do you see how this cycle goes? I don't want to know about it if I can't do anything about it. A very common theme. Okay, let's take our break. That went fast.
Teacher, can I ask a question?
You may.
Teacher, because last practice TongLen, we are picking a neutral person who we may not know that well. But my question is like, actually, with so many people we love, they have so many problems. We don't even have enough time to TongLen all of them. And should we like still need to find a neutral person to do TongLen? And what's the differences between doing for those we love and those we may not even know?
Yeah, good question. Art, we want to do Tonglen on those we love because we love them, right? So it's easy and effective and powerful. And and maybe it's true that would be all we would need to do because as our Tonglen becomes effective, there are more people that we love, right? We will love more as our Tonglen gets stronger. And there won't be any neutral people or people that we dislike, which is who we're doing this time. But when it comes to our compassion comes up naturally with people we love. And we still let ourselves not pay enough attention to people we don't know or that we don't like. So our compassion doesn't come up. So if Tonglen is about growing our bodhicitta, we would want to go to Tonglen beings that we don't naturally care so much about in order to grow our compassion. Yeah. So that would be the reason. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I keep thinking the seeds that unfold in childhood when we are like open and vulnerable and independent, and where it appears that others are training us to be sane and well socialized actors, most of us get ingrained in this mistake in every interaction that happens from when we don't have any choice, right? I mean, it's in a way. So,
Right.
we believe that my code, my country, my culture, my family, that those are what we need to be happy. So, but now as a adult or an individual, I'm trying to desperately unlearn that in a way that I can still interact in the world and not fall off the cliffs and get depressed and turn into a vegetable that's afraid to go outside my door. And so actually Tomlin seems to me like to be the first tool that might kind of like actually offer a way to do this,
Yeah.
because when you're sitting in meditation, you're still kind of like separated from the world, so it's like being on your mountain, and you can set up everything all perfect, and it's like, but the hard thing is to do it in the world, right? And this seems like the first tool that really gives you a way to do that. And so anyway, I'm not sure what the question is, but yay
Hey.
Tonglen, go
Yay,
Tonglen.
Tonglen, go Tonglen. Exactly.
But I
Exactly.
keep thinking about sanity, about how, you know, aren't you kind of like trying to learn to be insane?
Ah, it's a
Yeah.
fine line between wisdom and sanity. One of the I don't know what to call. Can I use the word woke? Woke teachers of our time is Carolyn Mace. Her name is
Yeah.
spelled MYSS. She's
Yeah,
extraordinary, gifted medical intuitive, but so much more, so much more. I lost my train of thought.
sanity.
Yeah, her PhD, she has a PhD in theology. Her PhD was about this fine line between schizophrenia and spiritual realization. And when we learn Diamond Way and we learn about those great yogis of Diamond Way, some of them, they're just crazy people. They don't follow any of the rules. They run around naked half the time. They just yell at people, set your house on fire and you'll be happy. Like they give these crazy instructions. And, you know, it's like because their reality is so different. And then how do you function? Do you have to become a crazy yogi to make progress on your path? No. But do we have to get off automatic pilot of that socialization that we learned by beings that didn't know any better? Right? Our seeds ripening that we're trained as kids to socialize because that's reality, right? Those are our seeds.
And then the self-correcting things in society that lock up or drug or those people that do
Right?
manifest spiritual realizations the wrong way.
The wrong
Or,
way. Right. 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 Because it's true, right? If your spiritual realizations are telling you it doesn't matter what you do to other beings, then those are not spiritual realizations. That's right, crack with reality. If your spiritual realizations are saying, never yell back no matter what, never hurt somebody no matter what. And we're doing that to such extent that we can't really even live according to the rules of our society, because our rules of our society say, no, no, you should hurt somebody before they hurt you. What's the matter with you? Let yourself get hurt. That's nuts. Right? And it's like, but that's a fine line because that's not what a spiritual teacher is telling you either.
And
It would
then
have to be our own personal conclusion. I understand seeds so well, right?
the Bodhisattva vow about not talking about emptiness too soon is
Right.
sort of woven in there too, of
It
like,
is.
yeah, you're not supposed to uh, go around cutting the ground out from everybody, even
Exactly.
though the place we want to be is where we let go of the ground and
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. Because
yeah.
of the misunderstanding that comes. Oh, nothing's real. So nothing matters. And it's like, no, nothing's real. So every detail of my behavior matters because that's where I'm creating, right? And so you also, right, Buddhism says there's no creator of the world. Yes, there is you, right? You are the creator of your world. Me is the creator of my world. There is no other creator of the world, but my every moment of awareness is creating. And you don't go around saying, look, you're the creator of your world to somebody who isn't ready to hear that. Because it's like, okay, great. I'm going to do anything I want. Wrong. I mean, right. You
But they
can do
do
anything you
anyway.
want, and you're going to get it all back at you. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Thanks. So, the so TongLen, all right, there's another TongLen, there's another time. Like the maybe the most powerful TongLen that we can do is to be TongLen-ing as we die. When we die, when we are ripening the seeds for the end of this lifetime, we call that dying. And that process, they say, has a unique and particular and exquisitely terrible pain. It's a physical pain beyond description because your physicality is disappearing. And it's a mental, emotional pain beyond describing because it's a ripping away of the me that we spent a whole lifetime protecting and relating to. And we're so habituated to me and my life that when that's becoming more and more nebulous, right? The experience of that, we call it a dissolution, is terrifying. And that terror is painful. So we avoid thinking about it. We avoid considering that it could happen, right? We for self-protection, we learned as little kids, don't worry, it's not going to happen for a long time, right? Don't think of it. And yet our self-protection mechanism is engaged all the time in order to avoid it. Any being who experiences dying will experience that pain. Any being who perceives themselves as living will die. So every being is going to have the pain of death. So they say, like, the ultimate TongLen is to be able to TongLen as we personally go through that experience. And to do that would mean that having this ability to be aware enough to be saying, this pain I'm experiencing, I'm taking it away from the whole world. Right? It's not so much I'm going to suck it in on my breath. I'm experiencing this pain of dying. And I'm doing it on behalf of every being that has to die too. I'm burning off my seeds. And by burning off my seeds, I'm burning off their seeds. And it's like, wait a minute, I can't burn off anybody else's seeds, but anybody else that I can be aware of as dying and having the pain of dying is my seeds. So to use my own pain of death to burn off all pain of death for every being, it could be like the last thing you need to do. And you could end up experiencing the truth of your own nature at the end of that process. Meaning, they call it reaching the clear light and recognizing that clear light as your own true nature. Every being in the process of dying will meet the clear light What's meant by that's a long story. Let's just leave it there. But untrained beings won't recognize it, and their reaction is a sense of this, right? It's not intellectual, it's not physical, but it's a back away instead of go into, although it's not a thing. And that back away is the impulse that pushes me into Bardo and then into rebirth. So, like, one of the tasks to transform our death into an opportunity is to be able to recognize that clear light as our own true nature and all that that conveys. To TongLen, going through that process, taking away all those seeds and having this, I'm giving, as I'm doing that, I'm giving all beings freedom from that pain as they go through this thing. You wouldn't even call it dying anymore. That goodness is so extraordinary, right? That its ripening result would help us recognize that clear light is the premise. But how are we going to TongLen at death if we're not so habituated to TongLening as our default reaction in the place where we are aware of suffering? We're using our TongLen when we see somebody else's suffering. And we're using our TongLen to think of our own future suffering. When we TongLen at death, we're using TongLen as our response to current suffering that we are experiencing. So our on the meditation time TongLen practice, maybe we enjoy it so much we end up doing an actual hour of TongLen a day. But then the other 23 hours of our day, we're back in ordinary me mode, ignoring sufferings until I get on my cushion again. In order to grow the ability to TongLen while we're dying, we can use all day TongLen to train ourselves for TongLening to be the default, right, that our mind goes to anytime we are experiencing suffering, whether it's suffering in someone else or our own suffering. Our automatic reaction could be TongLen. In which case, when we find ourselves going through that process of dying, right, that suffering, our default mode is to TongLen that pain. Whether it's been coming on for years from our cancer or our heart attack that's taking, a couple of hours, or we're flying through the windshield of our car, if we have habituated to TongLen as our default mode, we will default to it, even in that critical moment, or the likelihood of defaulting to it will be greater if we've spent a lot of time in those other 23 hours reminding ourselves, oh, I can always TongLen. Okay. And we can learn anything by way of making a habit of it, says Master Shantideva, because every time we do it, we're planting seeds. For that's my response when I witness or experience pain. I TongLen and I act worldly if I can. So how do we do all day TongLen? I need to watch the time here. We learned that verse from the Lama Chupa that was the prayer asking the Lama for the blessing to be able to TongLen. And they said, learn that like a mantra and have it in mind to inspire us. That verse said, and then my high holy Lama, Lama of all compassion, give me your blessings, please, so that all the pain of mother beings, all their bad deeds and obstacles may ripen upon me now, and so that I may give them all my good and happiness, and this way assure that each one of them has all happiness. That within that verse is the bodhicitta that we're trying to grow. Okay? May I become Buddha for the sake of all sentient beings. To do so, I need to clear out my negativities born of my selfishness, born of my ignorance. And I need to gather the goodness born of my growing understanding, from which comes my growing love. Compassion is wanting to take pain away, the willingness to try. Love is wanting others to be happy and the willingness to try to contribute to that in some way. So by asking our Holy Lama to bless our mind to be able to do that, right, we are planting the seeds to be able to do so. And we can only do so as Buddhas by way of teaching beings how to do it themselves. So the Lama's recommendation was memorize this prayer, train to have it on your mind all the time, and let those blessings color our reactions to our all-day experiences. Open ourselves up to the willingness to notice whether someone seems to be in some kinds of distress. Even notice those that don't seem to be in distress. They're having the suffering of change. And we're all having this pervasive suffering. And trigger something to remind ourselves that when we do see some distress, hey, this is my seeds ripening. It's an opportunity to TongLen. My seeds are ripening and being burnt off just by seeing their pain. Right? A wrong thought might be, well, so all I have to do is see it. And then it ends because I go on my way and I don't see it anymore. I've burnt off those seeds. And that would be true, but it would be missing this opportunity to act on our compassion. What do? We're breathing. You see that pain? You think, oh, seeds ripening, their pain. I can do something about it. Just with your next inhale, suck it out of them. You don't have to visualize the black, just, I see it, I'm going to take it. suck it in, use it to destroy my own seeds for seeing it. You're gonna exhale them some relief. Just may you be happy. Okay, may your pain go away. And then go on your way. Right? Next moment, there's another person in some kind of distress. You're breathing anyway. I'll take it. I'll give them some happiness. That's that fast. It requires paying attention and recalling. I can TongLen. The effect, right? It's an effect on our subtle body, as we learned before. It's planting seeds in our own mind. Hey, I can do something in the moment. I don't know the result from that, what I did in the moment, and that's fine. Because I don't ever know the result of what I do in the moment. But I'm willing to pay attention. I'm willing to try. So, you get on the bus. Hi, bus driver. And they've been in that seat all day, right? Customers being rude to them. Just take that in, destroy it in your heart. Give them some happiness. And all you say is, hi, bus driver. Nice to see you. Thank you for driving. You've been one kindness in bus driver's day. Then you see the tired businessman. Right? You're fatigued, you're tired, you're whatever. Right? May your wife give you a big hug when you get home. Then the mom in the back of the bus who's got twin boys, they're 3 years old. Nobody wants to go sit with the twins. So there you go, Tonglening mom interacting with the twins to give her a little bit of, aid, relief, whatever. We can do it. The effect on our own heart will be this growing ability to see the little ways that we can have a kinder effect on our world. Instead of just going through staying out of everybody's way. That was like my MO. Just, right? Don't be an obstacle. And it shifts to, yeah, don't be an obstacle and look them in the eye, smile, say hello, right? Make a comment, right? A pleasant comment. And it's all born of our TongLen practice because our TongLen is burning off our negativity and our mistaken mind and planting seeds. I want their happiness. Not meaning I want to take it from them. I want to give them some happiness, right? All meant to increase us on our path to becoming the one who will help them ultimately someday. Right? Little bitty ways. They plant seeds in our minds and they grow. So in order to TongLen at death, we train ourselves to TongLen by default. And then we don't need to worry about whether we'll TongLen at death or not. It will be our default mode when there's any distress. So I'm so happy to have had the opportunity to revisit this because my default mode had gotten off automatic pilot, like I was taking it for granted and not using it consciously. So I'm glad to have it back. So thank you for that. So let's do our meditation. This time, I'd like you to use someone that you have trouble with. Like someone who pushes those buttons. And, maybe somebody who pushes our buttons is also somebody we love. But if you can find someone who pushes your buttons, that's somebody that because of that, you really don't care for them so much, right? It's a little bit of a different feel in the TongLen. So either way, pick somebody. Can you find somebody? So keep them in mind when we get there. We'll do our preliminaries fairly swiftly because I talk too much. And then we'll call forth that person. So settle your body first of all. Bring your attention to your breath. Get that mind focused, clear, and the eager switch turned on, eager to hear where I take you. Now bring up your refuge. One way to do it is to think of just one of the amazing qualities that you will have when you realize your Buddha you. And recognize that the way that you will be perceiving yourself with that good quality is because of all the kindnesses that you planted in your mind to create that good quality. And so you recognize that you can and will do it. Because of the marriage of karma and emptiness. You can and will know yourself with that good quality. And think, what will you do with that good quality? How will you use it to help others? This is our bodhicitta. Then think of that precious holy being that you call forth at the beginning of class. Recognize how they have guided you and inspired you, and how they will be the one who helps you grow those good qualities. Feel your admiration for them, your aspiration, your determination to follow their guidance. Feel your gratitude, and make them an offering, something from your practice. See them so happy with you. Then clean your heart of some negativity. Feel your regret. Establish your antidote. It can be this meditation and your power of restraint. Then fill that space with rejoicing. Tell them of some other kindnesses you've done or seen others do. Ask that precious holy being to please stay close to you. Ask them to help you recognize their guidance coming to you through other beings. Ask them to please bring you all you need for your progress on this path. And then dedicate these preliminaries to your bodhicitta growing swiftly and deeply. Then bring your attention back to your breath. To reset your focus, your clarity, your eagerness. And picture next that one person who's giving you the most trouble in life right now. They seem to be making you suffer. Imagine where they might be right now. And take invisible you to be there with them. Recognize our tendency to be wanting to sort out how and why they are causing our distress. But for this TongLen practice, our task is to set that aside and pay attention to them, to see how they are probably suffering that's making them behave in that way towards us. Look beyond our own problem. Maybe it's a simple worldly thing. Maybe you recognize, oh, they're actually jealous of me. That's why they behave like that. Or maybe we recognize, oh my gosh, they have chronic back pain. No wonder they're so short-tempered. Oh, they're feeling disrespected by their boss. Tear down our own resistance to wanting to help them. Yes, they are the cause of my problems, seem to be, but they have problems of their own. Decide that you want, that you wish that you could stop that pain that they're having, that suffering that they're having, regardless of liking them or not liking them. Decide to gather all their distress and the seeds for more of it, and use your mind to focus, to see all that black yuck inside of them gathering into that tiny little ball in the center of their chest. Use 5 breaths to gather it all. Once you have it gathered, make the decision to take it from them, and then start your concentration on your exhales. Use 10 exhales for that breath to go and hook that black ball. Then 10 more inhales to pull it up and bring it to your nostril, starting now. When you have it hovering below your nostrils, identify that they're suffering again. And then look into your own middle of your chest, see that red flame? Identify it as your own similar mental afflictions, own similar behavior, propelled by our misunderstanding and the selfishness that comes from it. And recall that by bringing their suffering to meet with our own seeds, the two will obliterate when they touch. In that flash of light, the wisp of smoke, and we can rest in freedom from it all. So when you're ready, get that all clear, then a long exhale and the inhale on your own time. And back to normal breathing as you rest in that freedom. Then turn your inner gaze to that other person. See that they are feeling relief as well. And let yourself feel good about their feeling better. And maybe even a little bit of love for them grows. And you feel within your own body, that invisible body, that growing white light of love and wisdom. And it propels you to want to even give them more happiness than just the relief of their distress. And so use your exhales to send a beam of this white light of love and wisdom towards them. Use 5 breaths to get it to them. And then continue sending them more. You see it pour over them, enveloping them, and pour into them. And every structure and organ that white light of your love and compassion touches completely purifies, bringing their body to perfect health. It pours into the middle of that area of their chest in the middle, cleaning their emotions, giving them happiness, giving them love, loving kindness. See their own mind, heart growing in love, growing in compassion, growing in wisdom. Keep sending them your love, your compassion. You're watching them transform more and more until you see them glowing in light, transformed into a being made of love, made of compassion. And you see them burst forth with rays of light going out to all the beings of their world, helping them in the same way that you've helped this one. Feel how good it feels to give them that. Then bring that invisible you back into this you. Think of the goodness that we've just done. The seeds we have ripened and the seeds that we have planted in our mind by this course, by this class, by this TongLen session. Think of it as a beautiful glowing gemstone you can hold in your hands. And be happy with yourself. This gemstone is exquisite and it's precious and it's your creation. Recall your own precious holy being. See how happy they are with you. Feel your gratitude to them, your reliance upon them. Ask them again to please, please stay close. Ask them to continue to guide you, help you, inspire you. And then offer them this gemstone of goodness. See them accept it and bless it. And they carry it with them right back into your heart. See them there, feel them there. Their love, their compassion, their wisdom. It feels so good, we want to keep it forever. And so we know to share it. And in doing so, we dedicate it. By the power of the goodness that we've just done, may all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom and thus gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. So use those 3 long exhales to share that goodness with the person you thought of at the beginning of class. To share it with everyone you love. To share it with every existing being everywhere. See them all filled with happiness, all filled with wisdom, all filled with loving kindness. And may it be so. Okay, thank you again for the opportunity to share.
Thank you, teacher, for
You are so
all the
welcome.
teachings. Amazing.
Please, TongLen.
Okay.
Thank
Please,
you
please,
so
please.
much for the beautiful teachings.
You're welcome, Kristen. It was a pleasure to have you.
Gracias.
Roxana,
Thank
thank
you.
you so
Thank
much
you.
for translating. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Lama-san.
Okay.
Thank you
So,
guys
Gracias, Lama.
for joining.
yeah. So this group time, we're off until January, middle of January. And, I'll send emails for course 11. If you want to join us, you need to let me know. And then I'll send the Zoom link and so forth later.
Is
Okay.
it still going to be at 5? Because it used to be at 6, I think.
Morning class is 5 to 7. For
Um,
me, it's always 5 to 7, but for you, it
Okay.
changes, right?
Yeah, now it's 4 to 6. It's kind of tough.
I know. I'm so sorry. I do an evening one also.
Yeah,
Sundays and Thursdays
I haven't
from
figured out.
6 to 8.
Teacher, can I ask a simple
Okay.
question?
Yes, you may. So anyone who
Okay.
needs to leave, you're welcome to.
Right.
You want the recording to stop, Gong Li?
It's okay. It's okay. Up to you. It's okay too. Okay. You see, um, you know, a movie is a kind of a projection. We are watching a movie is a projection from
Right,
a projector, and then
right.
our life, is a projection also. And to me, I really like, uh, uh, still thinking, our life is a projection and who is watching us. So kind of thing. So because
That's it.
yeah,
Who
yeah.
is watching you?
Huh?
Who is watching you?
Who?
Your movie. Yeah, who is?
I don't know. That's
All
why.
the omniscient beings,
Oh, okay.
all the Buddhas,
Okay.
especially the one you call forth. They are watching you. They are watching your movie. That's a nice analogy.
Oh, okay. And now I'm still like, figure out, we are projecting, you know, all around us, and I still cannot get used to it,
No.
because, it looks like so real, at the
It
table
is
I can,
real.
yeah.
Do you see? There, you did it. I do it.
Uh-huh.
It's
Okay.
so real, it can't be a projection.
Yes, yes, yes.
No,
Yeah,
right?
that's
It's
um
only real because it's projection. It's so hard.
uh-huh. Oh, so oh, okay. And then until really like, we sort of like we see um the emptiness ourselves, only then we know that all around us is a projection, is it?
We know it, but we
Uh-huh.
don't see it that way
Uh-huh.
until eighth level bodhisattva. After after seeing emptiness directly
Yeah.
for the first time, you come out of it.
Yeah.
You still have seeds colored with that misunderstanding. They are still ripening. But what's gone is your belief that that's true, right? So you still experience things as if they are real in them from them, but you don't believe it anymore.
Uh-huh.
So because of the disbelief, your interaction with those things that seem to have their own natures is planted without the belief.
Uh-huh.
When we still have the belief, we're replanting the belief. And every replanted seed with the belief in own nature strengthens every other seed
Ah,
that
okay.
has the belief.
Okay.
So when we no longer are adding to the belief with every
Uh,
moment of seed planting,
uh-huh.
right? The ignorance that's left behind is getting weaker, 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 weaker.
Okay.
But it's still there.
Uh,
So it still looks like things are coming at us until
okay.
we finally damaged those seeds enough, shrunk them enough that they're just like dust. And at that point, we could call that nirvana, no more mental afflictions, because there's no more ignorance ripening enough to trigger a mental affliction, but not yet omniscient
Okay.
because of the
So,
dust.
do we have a chance to learn the Bodhisattva 8 level? I mean, in ACI courses, do we have a course like this?
The ACI courses don't teach the 8 levels, Bodhisattva
Because,
levels. One of the translators, I'm not sure which one, is working on a text that is a commentary on a text about the 8 levels. Even in Diamond Way training, we didn't go into the 8 levels, 8 Bodhisattva bhumis in depth. There are texts about it, even ones that are translated into other languages. They're difficult, apparently.
okay,
Yeah, so I don't have that
never
up
mind.
my sleeve.
Okay, never mind. I just finished my ACI first. Yeah.
Yay! ACI one.
Oh no,
Good.
all the 18.
All
Because
18.
actually, no, not yet. Because offline, I do attend. Jenny Wang, teacher Jenny Wang. They're organizing offline ACI. So 13, 14, 15, I already attended. So
Excellent.
still left with 11, 12, 13, uh, s- uh, 16, 17, 18.
Good.
So
Good,
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
All right, yay.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Thank you for being here to teach us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you so much. My great pleasure.
Bye bye.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody else? Yes, PI can stay. Yes, Roxana. Yeah, no, I'm on the English channel if you can switch over. Do you want me to uninterpret you? Let me see if I can do that. There.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Dilemma. No, just wanted to know if you need something for the coming Mexico trip. I just wanted to catch up on you with that. If you
Oh,
and Venerable
thanks.
Sumati
Yeah,
would
yeah.
just think it over,
Okay,
okay?
thank you.
And then we can talk about it.
Okay, I'll let you know.
That's my main concern right now is see what I can do for you too.
Okay, thanks.
Okay? It's a
I
lovely
don't,
class. I loved it.
okay, thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
stopping recording.
Oh.
Okay.